Right, so this is the introduction to the first podcast that hasn't got a name yet. My name's Gav, and I'm sat here with my good friend Liam, who's been my friend for the best part of a quarter of a century. And we had a chat a couple of weeks ago. We hadn't spoke for a while, but we had a chat a couple of weeks ago, and we thought, why don't we just do something that maybe gets us out of the house for a couple of hours a week or a month, or however often we decide to do the podcasts. And this is just going to be talking about all sorts of random categories and topics and seeing where it leads and seeing if we can gain a bit of interest from it. Liam?
Yeah. Well, we had a good chat the other night on the phone, and then we were after about 40 odd minutes of chatting, we were like, oh, this could have been a mint podcast, this. It's a bit narcissistic, but it was good crack, wasn't it?
Really good crack. It's as I said to you the other night on the phone as well, we the kind of friends that might not see each other for sometimes years at a time, and then when you meet up, it's like you've never been apart, and that's It's really it's like there's not many friendships like that about, not many people personally for me that I can see I've got that sort of friendship with.
No, it's good. It's just pick up where you left off, unforced bit of crack every time we see each other, isn't it? Really. So
yeah, absolutely.
But obviously, we met probably about 100 metres down the road, didn't we?
Aye.
Littlewoods.
Yeah, ironically.
It's no longer.
Building's no longer there, but I think it was around about 1999, possibly. We both. I think your dad was a team leader there at the time, and I was on his team.
Yeah.
And somebody said, "Oh, his son works here as well." So who's his son? And then I saw him strutting across the floor as a tall, skinny 19-year-old. I was thinking, "There's this swagger here."
Absolute swagger and a haircut.
Yeah, and then it's sort of. I think we didn't really talk until I think our first function when we maybe went to the match, or we maybe got together as a group from work, wasn't it?
Probably, yeah.
Hard to remember how we first got talking. But I suppose you fast forward from that original meeting to only 7 years later, and Liam was one of my ushers at my wedding. And
yes,
to give us some context, next year it's my 20th wedding anniversary, so you're talking 21 years since.
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah. So
it's a long time, like.
A long time, but like you say, we're literally over the road from where we first met. Never thought 25 years ago we'd be sitting in a shipping container 100 yards over the road talking into a phone. But hey,
next to a tractor.
But you can't. Yeah, look, life is what it is, isn't it? It takes on many a different winding turn. So I suppose the first thing what we should really discuss, and let's hope it gains some momentum, but we need to think of some names. Now, if you want to tell them about your idea, which I thought was
going to be Big G and Little G, as in Little Gav, Big Gallagher, or Big Gal. It's difficult, isn't it? It's just got to be something that's catchy. Like if you ever go on Spotify or Apple Music, you just see a tiny little window of art, don't you? So
yeah,
it just needs to grab your attention. Like
yeah,
I like the Road Back. That's not a bad name, but it's. I don't know. There's your boy was saying.
Yeah, just this morning, my little lad. He's nearly 12. He loves his YouTube, and he does his little video blogs of Sunderland, and he's a Holland fan as well. So he does that, and I was telling him about what we were doing today, and he says, "Well, why don't you call it size? It doesn't matter," which is, I suppose, quite fitting. Liam's what? How tall are you?
6'2".
6'2". I'm 5. Well, I like to say 5'7", but in reality, it's 5'6" ¾ So size, amateur and size doesn't matter. Extra 3/4 of an inch, but I think that works. We don't want to be too narcissistic with it. We want it to be fairly light-hearted and easy going. So I suppose what I would say is we've got 2 suggestions on the board now. If anybody listening to this has any other suggestions, you could leave your suggestions in the comments. Keep them clean, please. Keep them in keeping with what we're trying to do here. But if anybody has any other suggestions, I suppose we could talk about other suggestions now, Liam.
We could. I feel like it depends on what we want. It's something catchy like size doesn't matter. We're going to get into about self self-care, or it could be something like the road back or bounce back ability, or something along the lines of it's catchy, but it's also a little important message. So
Yeah.
I feel like we'll probably just shelf that spitball a little bit.
Yeah, I think we need to have a good think. It's harder to think off the cuff. But like I say, if anybody's got any creative ideas, I don't want anything too long. I don't want a sentence for a podcast, but some few words, something that sort of captures what we're trying to do would be helpful. And obviously it ties into what we were, our first real category that we're going to talk about is what is in June Men's Health Month.
Yeah.
Obviously it's a lot more prevalent now. It's a lot more in the media about men's, not just physical health, but mental health.
Yeah, 100%.
And probably, not probably, but there's more outlets out there now where men can go and talk, men can probably express their feelings more than they ever have been able to do.
Yeah.
And talk about their problems or things that they find challenging in their everyday life, really. And it's different for everybody.
Yeah. It's going in the right direction. Probably not going as fast enough as it could, but I always I don't know if we were speaking about this on the phone the other night, but I was watching the David Beckham documentary on Netflix and the grief that he got for getting sent off against Argentina.
That's right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the grief, hanging dummies up and death threats and all the things they were saying about his wife and his children and stuff. And you've just got to remember, it was only 20 odd years ago. Like now,
yeah,
that would be like alarm bells. So that's progress in the sense of the media wouldn't get away with that now.
Yeah,
because the guy was the guy was talking about being in a chalet or something in France, and he was really high up, and he was thinking about just jumping off. So I suppose that's a good measurement of progress when you go. It's easy just to say it's not going as quick as it should, but it's way better than 20 years ago.
I'd agree with that. I think, as we know, though, because it's better, it doesn't ever really go away. And there's still people who, despite all the outlets you have now to organisations around to speak with, it's still difficult for some people to get past that first hurdle of maybe making first contact, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a lot more difficult, probably for I would suggest for much younger men coming out of the teenage years into the 20s, where there's still that sort of nuance of going out and drinking and bravado and all of this sort of thing. And sometimes you stop and think, well, is this doing me any good? And who do I speak to about it? Can I speak to me 20, 21-year-old mate about it? Will you understand? And I suppose it's those age groups, those types of people who need it more than others, I would suggest. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, there's loads more pressures, isn't there? It's consumer culture. It's the fear of missing out. Everyone's on social media. Everyone's getting shamed for getting things wrong. Which is horrendous, really. I think that's definitely it's going in the wrong direction. I feel like a lot of people they make a mistake or the behaviour is not what it should be, and rather than it just being addressed, and everyone's kind of made it feel like it's the end of the world sort of reaction. But I mean, in terms of just in terms of reaching out, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
But it's what is the barrier that's going to enable reaching out more accessible and easier for people. Really, that's what it is. So you've got people who, I mean, I go on a walk on a Saturday morning down Roker, and it's a bunch of guys, and it's around mental health, but a lot of the chats we have from Roker to Seaburn, just chatting about this and that. It could be about music. There will be the odd person or the odd conversation where someone says, "Oh, I've had this sort of week, I've had that sort of week," so that's important. But just getting out and socialising and speaking to someone, even though it sounds simple, is your starting point, really. It's your starting point. I mean, you might not want to go and see a counsellor, you might not want to go and see your GP, you might not even want to speak with your family, depending on how you've been conditioned, So just having an outlet where you can speak to someone is really good, and it's really important that people have loads of these places to reach out. A lot of the time, it's just that interaction that's missing from your life.
I think so. I think interaction's a big thing. I think it's how some people find it difficult to interact for normal things. Socially very shy people would find it more difficult than others, of course. The other thing I think is quite prevalent with mental health, not just for men, for women as well, is social media is both, the angel and the devil of mental health. You can put positive things out there and it's got force for good, where, you're sharing something that's positive in your family or in your life or in your business or whatever it may be. But again, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of people are happy to sit behind the keyboards or the phones and castigate people for putting things out there, or into jealousy, and sometimes it stops people, or maybe it makes people think twice about putting things out into the social sort of arena. And I think if there's a perception that it's okay to, probably the word boast strong, but boast about how well you're doing, or boast about how happy you are, it needs to be accepted more than castigated. And social media and the platforms that run these types of things probably I feel need to be a bit more accountable.
Oh, 1,000,000%, absolutely. Absolutely, they've got way more responsibility. There's a ton of mental health diagnoses came out just off the socials. So there's one related to the Instagram filters, where it's seen an increase on body dysmorphia and things like that, where people are just constantly changing the way they actually look. But this, for me, it's I can't. I'll see if I can remember this clearly, but it's a great tool. So it is a great tool, but it's when you're getting dictated by the tool. So some guy was saying, "Oh, the bicycle's a great invention." Do you know what I mean? But I don't live my life around the bicycle. It's there. It's a tool. I'll pick it up and I'll use it. It's really helpful, and that's what it should be. Really, I've only recently, through a work situation, went back on Facebook. I left Facebook because I just thought I didn't like the way it was dictating my interactions with the world. Like people would say that you've got a new dog or a new wife or you're going on holiday or whatever it is, a new car, blah blah blah. Whatever news it was, you just bump into them and they'd be like, they would lead the conversation with you. Oh, saying you got this.
Yeah.
And it's just took away a conversation.
It has.
And then there was also people I knew, God bless them, on social media who were having a really tough time, but they were portraying this digital mask, if you like, of life's great. I just said, Asda for hours while you look miserable.
Yeah.
And that's not digging anyone out. That's just saying, look, that's we've all got to wear our masks from time to time. Like if you're in the middle of Asda and someone goes, you will have that scripted response of, I'm all right, because it's not really the place to go, no, I'm struggling with this. So you will have that, but I think it does encourage people to feel like they're missing out, or they've got to put on this act and this angst that life's great and I'm not struggling, but it also becomes really competitive.
It does. It creates. I mean, you've heard the phrase probably doom scrolling, when you're at your down when you're sitting just looking at your phone, or you might be on Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is, and you see these people who it might be a genuine post where I am really happy and we've done this today and it's been great, and here's some pictures of my kids and my dinner and that sort of thing. But in reality, it's been terrible. But to the other user looking at that, they think, well, why is my life not like that? And it probably is. It's a series of snapshots, isn't it? At the end of the day, you're not going to be happy all the time.
Yeah.
But when you see people constantly putting how great things are onto their various social media feeds, and it does sometimes have the adverse effect on people watching them.
Yeah, well, it's what they say is a FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And it is because there'll be times where you're going, oh, there'll be times when you're doing this and that. You shouldn't be comparing it with other people.
No.
In my book, I think that's a really unhealthy measurement of where your life is, because you're not always going to be on holiday together. You're not always going to be celebrating wins together.
Yeah.
You're not always going to be congratulating people together. Your achievements, things are going to happen at different times and different points of your life. So, yeah. But yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult for the youth of the day. I mean, at least when I think when if I had any bother at school, or I thought someone was going to get battered, I could just go hide in the toilets and then live to fight another day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or if I did something, I said something, I was only accountable until the next day.
Yeah.
Where now there's people getting bullied outside of school because of all the devices we've got. So it is really difficult. I mean, on the flip side, I do think it's one thing I have noticed since I came back on Facebook is mental health is like it's become trendy.
Yeah.
Like, get this up. What does this picture look like? If you see this picture instead of this picture, you've got trauma. And it's like, what? Yeah. It's become, they've capitalised on mental health, and I feel like it's a get out of jail card a lot of the time for healthy emotions that get experienced. If you've got to do some public speaking, or you've got a test, or whatever it is, you should be feeling anxiety. But we've labelled anxiety and stress and anger as these really negative, unhealthy emotions. And they're not healthy emotions.
Absolutely, they are. You've got to live through them all, and I think when you see things like that on Facebook, as I say, the happy times, the pictures of you out with your kids and having a great time on holiday or whatever you're doing, and then you've got the absolute other end of the spectrum where people are posting cryptic little 2-sentence posts to say how something is really terrible, but not alluding to what it is. And then you've got people saying, "Oh, are you okay?" Let us know what's up. And it almost feels like a stick to beat yourself with.
Yeah.
I'll sit and wallow with my own self-pity, and I'm not saying that's the case in all examples, but I'll wallow with my own self-pity, and I'll wait for somebody to come and tell us everything's going to be okay. When in reality, the best thing to do would be to put your phone down and give your mate a ring, or pop round the road, pop round the corner and have a chat, or sit in the park and say hello to passers-by. That might be infinitely better for you than posting something on saying, "I'm at my lowest ebb," or why.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to totally put the world so right, it's going to really, but it's difficult, isn't it? I've been off for a while, but when I've seen people go, "Oh, this is something ambiguous, like this is just not working out, I can't believe this," and then it'll be someone going, "Is everything all right?" And then I'll privately message her, and it's like, "Oh, come on, even just the way you're using the tool, that's just but we're all guilty of it."
Yeah,
the amount of times I've sent a text message to someone when I could have just easily phoned them. So it has dictated. It's dictated how we communicate.
Yeah.
But it's not like the machines are taking over. You still have a responsibility to say, "Well, okay, if I can't say this out loud over the telephone to a friend, how close is this person anyway?"
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
There's always the off switch as well, isn't there? Let's not forget, it needs power to run, and if you take away the power, then what option have you got?
Yeah.
You go out and actually speak to people like nature intended, I suppose,
Yeah.
and communicate in the proper way. And I think when you sat like we are face to face and you're talking candidly about things that you've possibly been through, or things that you're going through now, or things that you're looking forward to, you get a much greater sense of feedback than you do from somebody sending you a message, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's obviously, this might lead us nicely into our next section, actually, Liam. I think there's other things that can dictate your mood. There's lots of things that dictate your mood, and I think one of those things, which is like, especially for me and you, I know it's a lot of people as well, is music. Music can make you feel fantastic, or it can make you feel like really miserable and want to cry, and how terrible is everything at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's always going to be a constant. Everybody don't care how somebody might turn around and say, I don't really listen to music, I don't really have a favourite band, or I don't really have this. Everybody's affected by music, whether it's classical music, whether it's heavy metal, and everything in between, sort of thing. And of course, anybody who knows you, Liam, knows that you're a huge Oasis fan.
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
Obviously, you're named after the man himself.
Yeah.
Well, not directly named after the man himself, but just by pure coincidence, Mr. Gallagher.
Yeah, Irish family, Liam Gallagher.
Yeah.
Which is a really common name in Ireland.
It is.
But it's not. That's my brother. Probably got us into Oasis, and they picked me band growing up, really. In times where there was like early 90s, where there was seemed to be a shift in politics, and it was like there was a little bit of hope, a new Labour, and then obviously there was still a massive class division of like working class and middle class and upper class, and that hasn't went away really. But there was like this sense of hope, and I think Oasis were just there at the right time. But when Oasis were kicking about, I was like 11. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was very much like, even though I was a rebel, I'll be a bit of a rebel at school, which I was anyway. Really, a bit of a class clown and a bit of a gobshite at times. But yeah, that's probably what appealed to me. It's only a reflection when I look back at the 90s, where I was like, God, the 90s was brilliant, but there was a lot of firsts. They were definitely my first band, and still the best band. Going to see them in a bit down Manchester for 2 nights, so well looking forward to that. But yeah, they've over the course of I don't know, was it 31 years or whatever it was, 32 years,
long time.
Loads of different things have occurred when I've been listening to the tunes. So like when I was taking too many drugs, I was like, there's a tune called Sunday Morning Calling. I just put that on, and it was sort of pre-internet days when I listened to that, and I was just keying the tune much, and I was like, oh yeah, that's like someone's just tapped into how I feel. Yeah. I maybe need to just give this a break. And it's just like, and then there's other times like, the World Cup in Japan, where Stop Crying Your Heart Out was the soundtrack for the England boys, and loads of different little things like that. So I hear a song, it'll just take us back there. Oh yeah, that was when we were in Ibiza. Like I remember going down there with my brother to the old Wembley, and on the way down there, obviously we were up all kinds of scallywag things that you shouldn't be up to, but on the way down there, so this is 2000, we were like, we'll go on HMV because it's this new band. We've got this single out called Yellow, and my brother was like, we haven't got time for that. I was like, no, you will like it. And it was way before like Bluetooth or anything like that, so we literally had CD Walkman, and we just had an ear each, listen to Yellow. It seems like proper hunter-gatherer.
Well, it's alien to kids now, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Just had a bud each, and we were like, what tune this is. So there's just loads of little memories like that. I
think the best sort of music does resonate though, doesn't it? It can make you feel great, it can make you feel terrible at times, or it can make you reminisce about good memories and bad memories. You mentioned Sunday Morning Call, which is a great tune, by the way. But there's other tunes that you listen to and you think it's speaking to me, and of course it is speaking to you, but it's not just speaking to you, it's speaking to thousands and thousands of other people who were listening to it in different ways. You listened to it when you were, as you mentioned, taking too many drugs, and you thought it was speaking to you, and it probably was at the time. But then somebody's
I probably didn't even press play.
Well, yeah, you might have inadvertently wrote the song, Liam, I think.
But that song was very much a bit like putting those shoes on and how you walk to a deal that couldn't offer you more. I was just on a come down one day, and these lines, I was like, oh yeah, I should be feeling these things that I'm feeling, and it was just like someone else had went, I've gained it, and it's never going to work out. Doesn't matter how many times you keep going back to the pipe or the pill or the smoke, you're always going to get this end product. And that's what I meant. But it was almost like a little arm around the shoulders here. It's all right, you're not the only one that's feeling like this. Because there wasn't like, Frank.com or what does the NHS say about taking ecstasy tablets 7 days in a row?
Yeah.
There was nothing like that.
No.
There was no podcast. YouTube was in its infancy and all that kind of stuff. So it was almost just like it just made us think, I'm going to be all right.
It does. It makes you work things out as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It makes you work things through in your own head, and you sometimes think, it is going to be all right. But then there's always that adage, isn't there, that if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got.
Yeah.
And on a Friday when you finish work, you think, I can't wait to get down the pub, or I can't wait to do this, or I can't wait to do that, and you know it's going to be good. But you also know what the day after is going to be like. Well, you do now more so at our age, I think. But when you were a young lad, like we were, and you listened to those songs and you're doing the things we did, you didn't really think about tomorrow. You thought about the now, didn't you?
Yeah.
And it's only when you get to this sort of age where you can reflect on those times and think, well, if only. But then again, you can't live your life that way, can you? You've and as Noel says, it's going to be all right. It probably will be eventually, but you need to do things differently, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, sorry, Lee, cut you off. In keeping with, I don't want to try and get this podcast to be a little bit different, but I've seen this thing flying around that a lot of people do, and it's called blind ranking. And I've briefly explained it here on the way down here today. And with Oasis in mind, I've gone on the internet, and I've picked out 10 random Oasis tracks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read them out to you, and I'm going to read them out in no particular order, and you've got to give them a rank of 1 to 10.
One being the best.
1 being the best, 10 being
champion.
Yeah. And obviously the fear is that you might pick something and put it as a 3. But once it's down, it's down.
I like it.
So I'm going to read those out to you in no particular order. Feel free to chat about the song, what it means to you as well. Don't just say, I think that's number 4, if you don't want to, and we'll go from there. So, yeah. Right, so the first one I'll give you a nice easy one, is Whatever, and it was from the Whatever singles, written and performed by Noel Gallagher.
Easy to say, and not just because you've just said it. Actually, I'll say 5.
You're going to go for a 5, halfway house for that one, so 5 for Whatever. The next track is Gas Panic, and that's from Stand on the Shoulder of Giants 2000, again Noel Gallagher.
I'll say Gas Panic, it's great too, like that. I'll put it, I want to make room for whatever you've got on this song. I'll put it a 7, but yeah, probably that's about small too much pops. Gas Panic. Yeah,
that's that sort of vibe to it, like.
But I like it. It's just it's a bit trippy. It's a bit on the dark side, and like all the screechy guitars on it. It's I don't know why they stopped playing it really, but yeah, it's one of the better songs off Not Such a Great Album.
It's I don't agree with Not Such a Great Album. It's one of my personal favourites, I would say. I don't want to go back to what we've been talking about and repeat ourselves, but it did speak at the time. And I've got one particular memory which I won't go into that spoke very loudly, and I thought, hang on a minute, Gav, you need to sort things out here a little bit, mate. You know what I mean? You're only alive once. Let's not cut it too short. So we're going to give that solid 7 names. That was him.
Yeah.
Next one, a bit more light-hearted, and this is Songbird from Heathen Chemistry 2002, written and performed by Liam Gallagher.
8.
An 8. Straight away an 8.
Yeah.
Not as good as Gas Panic, but not quite a number 10.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll go with I Hope, I Think, I Know, which is from Be Here Now, 1997, and that's again Noel Gallagher.
I want to say a 9.
You want to see a 9?
I want to say a 9.
Yeah, you might have a positive outlook on me listening. You might think there's going to be some bangers coming up soon. I can't give it a 2 or a 3. Let's give it a 9. So we go with 9 for I Hope, I Think, I Know. Next on the list is Columbia from Definitely Maybe, 1994.
Yeah, it easily gets it. I'll say a 4. 4
for Columbia, okay. I think you might be going about this the right way, Liam, if I'm honest with you, because there are some bangers on here. So we've got Gas Panic in at 7, we've got Songbird in at 8, we've got Hope, I Think, I Know in at 9, and we've got Columbia in at 4, and we've got Whatever in at 5. The next track is my personal favourite. My personal favourite Oasis song, which is, I've discussed it at length with my wife, that when it's my time to be buried or burnt or whatever they decide to do with my body, that's going to be the final song people hear when they see the curtains closing.
Right.
And that's Cigarettes and Alcohol, and that's from Definitely Maybe as well, 1994. Mr. Noel Gallagher.
It's a shame, Mike. Have I got anything for number 6?
You haven't done 6 yet.
But it's a comfortable 6, yeah.
It's a comfortable 6.
Yeah.
So we're saying it's not as good as whatever. I don't want to influence your decision.
No, I'm going to stick with what I've got.
Go with your good, number 6. So we've got 4 left to rank. Okay, if you need a reminder of what numbers you've got left, I'm happy to give you that. But the next one is The Master Plan, and that's from Wonderwall, 1995, Noel Gallagher. Just before you make a decision on this, one thing I've never seen, I've obviously heard the song hundreds and hundreds of times, and it is one of my favourites, but I hadn't actually seen the video to it up until about a month ago.
Oh, the cartoon?
Yeah, and it's very Lowry-esque. It was one of my favourite artists.
For the stadium.
For the stadium,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
the go to the match sort of genre like type vibe with. So yeah, sorry, just to digress.
That's great. It was one of my favourite, like for years. It was one of my favourite Master Plan. I would say it's a tricky game that you guys playing now. So I probably would have put it around about the 5 mark, but that's not available anymore. We'll say 3.
You're going to go with 3 for The Master Plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Can't say I disagree with that.
It's a cruel game that we're playing now.
It is a cruel game, and I'm very sorry to land it on you, but it's blind ranking, and that's just the nature of the beast, isn't it? So we've got numbers 1, 2, and 10 left, and you've got 3 tracks. I think you started well. I think you might end up being disappointed with yourself. So the next one we've got is Step Out from Don't Look Back in Anger, 1996.
So it's a tune, but it deserves to be higher than 10, but it's definitely not 1 or 2, so by definition it's 10.
Fair enough, okay. So I'll go with these next 2 in any order. I've got a funny feeling I know what your number 1's going to be, but then you don't know what's coming next to you. So the next one is Round Our Way from Wonderwall, 1995.
It's not going to be number 1, so it's going to have to go there, number 2.
Number 2, alright, so your final track, which is obviously going to be number 1, which, if I'm honest, when I looked at this morning, without knowing all of your personal favourites, I would have probably thought you'll rank this number 1 anyway, because I certainly would have done.
I would guess it's either Supersonic or Live Forever.
Well, you guess right, it's Supersonic, obviously from Definitely Maybe, 1994.
I live with Supersonic being number 1, it's an absolute banger.
Well,
It's the one song that I've taught to my daughter.
Really?
Well, we were in Portugal, and I said, I don't know if it was €20, but I said, if you can learn Supersonic word for word, and I fell down by the wayside. She probably got €1 million off us anyway, but she went, yeah, €20, I'll learn it. And I could just hear her in the shower going, I need to be myself. I can't be no one else. So she's got Taylor Swift, she's got all these, I can't remember which other ones she's got, but she's just randomly got a load of tunes, and then in the middle of it she'll have Supersonic.
Well, that's not a bad thing. That's not, you're passing on something valuable, aren't you, to the next generation.
I've let her down, if I'm honest, because I don't drive, so she's not listening to all of her mother's tried.
Wow.
So I've let her down as a father, really.
Well, I think the fact you know some of the words to Supersonic, I don't think you have, if I'm honest. I mean, my son, I'm massive. We spoke about this on the phone again the other night, which brought us to this, but I'm a huge fan of the Smiths. And it was I suppose, my guilty pleasure really when I was like going through comprehensive school and I discovered them and thought, why have I never heard this before, sort of thing. And my son, now, not all of the Smiths, he's not purist, but by any means, but he does like the Smiths, and you sometimes hear him asking for certain songs on his Alexa in his bedroom, which is quite pleasing, if I'm honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, quite pleasing. So I'll go through what you've ranked. Be nice to hear whether people agree or disagree with this, if they're particularly Oasis fans. But we've gone with Supersonic at number 1. We've gone with Round Our Way at number 2. We've gone with The Master Plan at number 3. We've gone with Columbia at number 4. Whatever at number 5. Cigarettes and Alcohol at number 6. Gas Panic at number 7. Songbird at number 8. I Hope, I Think, I Know at number 9. And we've gone with Step Out at number 10. That'd be nice to hear whether people agree or disagree with that. Obviously, we've got to remember that he didn't know it was coming. So
I'm happy with the first 6, so I'd probably change around all with you.
Yeah.
So I just had this idea that we would have like a number. We would have Donald Batnanger.
Sorry, I think we've got a bird on top of the container. Like, he must be listening to the tunes. He's having a bit of a dance, like.
Maybe Songbird.
Yeah.
But no, I'm quite happy with that. Like my always a tune, isn't it?
Well, I'll give you the list, Liam, and then you can look at it at your leisure and decide what your actual order would be. In fact, it would be quite nice if you went away and you reordered those, and we can touch on it again in a future podcast. Quite like to do it myself, so if you want to do a bit of research
I'll get the Smiths. I'll have a listen. My sister-in-law or my ex-sister-in-law, big Smiths fan, and she'd try to get us into them, but sometimes it's timed, isn't it? I like all the hits, you know. But yeah, I'll have a listen. Like, I do remember years ago. I don't know if I should tell this story already, but I do remember years ago there was a lad that we both know called Kappa. And let's just say we were having some exotic cuisine that night. And for whatever reason, I had one of them CD players where you could stack like four CDs or 5 CDs. I think I might have been 5. And they would just automatically play the next one.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it was The Doors.
Right.
And we just sat there for about 3 hours listening to The Doors. The next part of the story I can't really tell you.
Okay. It's probably best that you don't then. Well, you couldn't.
But there was some shenanigans went on after that. But I do remember thinking, God, I tell you, we woke up the next day, but we woke up the next evening and went, is that what we did? But I sometimes do that with Oasis. I sometimes listen to the whole of definitely maybe the Monster Story and then Be In There or Master Plan Be In There. So yeah, I do like to do that. Been listening to Master Plan quite a bit lately. Head Shrink, I think that's a right underrated song.
Mm-hmm.
Good to Be Free. Listen Up, some really good songs that never made the cut. But the purist fans know how good the band are.
Well, this is it. The purist, you know, you just mentioned that you listen to the Smiths and you like the mainstreamy ones, which I think a lot of people do. But when you listen to everything you could possibly listen to that they've ever brought out, you do have like your favourites that some people haven't heard of, you know.
Yeah.
So if you any of those tracks that Liam's just been talking about, it would be interesting if people find them up on YouTube because they'll be there and see what you think, you know, see what they say to you really. With me, my sort of the Smiths journey began, and I was telling this on the phone the other night, quite an innocent story, but one of my older brothers who was living with us at the time had a huge vinyl and cassette collection. Talking about it, he started in the 70s and it was like it was an enormous collection. He was very, very precious about it, and he used to
sneak in his room.
Well, he locked his bedroom door when he wished to go out, and one particular night he didn't lock his bedroom door, and I thought, well, now's the time to go in and see what he's got going on. And I think the first or the second album I pulled off the shelf was, which was a best of album, which was Louder Than Bombs by the Smiths. Stuck it on his turntable, and I was just in awe. And I thought, how have I not heard this before? And when you're sort of 10-year-olds, they don't speak to you as much because you've not had that life experience. But the older you get, the more you listen to them, you think, oh, that's what he means. Oh, that's what it means.
Yeah,
you know?
It takes on a different meaning, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, absolutely. It takes on a different meaning. But again, it progresses your musical taste as well, doesn't it? You know, you think, well, you like that, you're possibly going to like that as well, so you listen to something else.
Oh, 100%. I mean, there's that really, like, the famous interview of Moore when he says, like, well, the opening chords to Public Bananga's Imagine by John Lennon, so if someone's listening to that, they'll go, they might go and listen to Imagine.
Absolutely.
And then it opens the doors to the Beatles or John Lennon, or so 100%. Like, when I think about all the getting into Oasis, inadvertently I was getting in obviously the Stone Roses, the Beatles, the Laws, loads of bands where they're like, you just hear an interview or you hear a line in a song and someone says, "Oh, Blood on the Tracks, what's that?" And then you go away and you say, "Phil on the Hill, oh, it's the Beatles." So I'm listen to that, and then that's what I love about music. I mean, I've probably got the bug for music where people got the bug for a certain football team.
Mm-hmm.
I've probably just got the bug for music, really.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would imagine that's the equivalent to all the lunatics that were singing a few weeks ago, you know.
Do you think musical taste, do you think you get to a certain age where you know what you like, and you probably, I mean, I think it's different nowadays because, in my opinion, there's so much crap in the charts and stuff that's being recycled and reused over and over again, and it doesn't really mean anything to you. You know, obviously it's designed and it's targeting a younger generation. I get that, but do you think there's ever a point in your life where you get to a stage where you think, well, this is what I like and I get interested, and it's occasionally you'll get something that'll pop out in the charts and think, oh, that's actually quite catchy, that's quite good. I mean, for me, it wasn't for me, but I was listening to Take My Son Swimming a couple of years back, and George Ezra's song came on the radio, and my son was like, oh, that's really, really good.
Yeah.
And I was like, actually, it's quite catchy.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say I went away and listened to everything George Ezra ever brought out. We didn't do that, but we did take him to a concert, and actually, you know, it was quite good.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say he's like somebody I would listen to again and again.
No, he's got some tunes, like he likes some of the tunes, but I don't know really. Like I'd say, I'm always on Apple Music just because we pay for it, and I don't really use Spotify, but yeah, like Sam Fender's People Watching album's pretty good. I'll just get into something and give it a try. I feel like a lot of it's just diluted.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to answer for. But you know, there's no like we would say indie music is what we got into, but it was really just independent music because there were independent record labels. Now these are all being bought out by your Virgins and all the rest of it, and a lot of it's. Music's become in some ways just worthless. Like people don't own music anymore. So it's always people are always, and I'm guilty of that. I have to admit.
Okay.
I've got that Apple Music. I don't actually own any of those songs.
Yeah.
If we start paying that 16 odd quid for the family thing, all that music's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, I've filmed my iPhone up with music.
Yeah.
I couldn't do an update the other day. There's like 8,000 songs on there and about 1,600 photos and all this kind of stuff. So I'm gonna have to put some on the cloud. But what do you think about this? Music's not it's not for sale anymore. It's for rent.
Do you think as well?
I think that's spoiled it a bit.
No, I think you're right. Do you think as well that the mainstream changes by generation, and the mainstream when we were like in our teenage years, going into our 20s, was the likes of Oasis, you know, and the mainstream then was people who weren't scared to say what they felt and say what they thought, and it wasn't so much. Inadvertently, it became about it, but it wasn't about the look so much. It was more about what they were trying to say and what the music meant to people. Whereas now it's about the look, it's about the popularity. You know, how many likes do you get on Twitter and how many, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's obviously it's done on 180, hasn't it? So now the money's in the tours and the concerts as opposed to the music. The music's become worthless, really, with all the kind of illegal downloading and streaming and things like that. So that hasn't happened, but I didn't really notice pop music growing up, so I feel like I've noticed it more as I've getting older.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Popular music, so like when I was younger, it was just like, oh, I'm never going to listen to that.
Yeah.
But as you get older, I don't know, you just notice it more. I don't know if that's just having kids or listening to the radio. It's become like popular music seems to be the biggest it's ever been.
Mm.
And some people will go like, you know, some people will be listening and go, no, what about Taylor Swift or what about this and that, and it is just popular music. It's not very good music.
No, that's the difference. Popular doesn't always mean good, does it?
But it seems to me back in the day it was the default set. So when indie wasn't big and that was R&B, the pop music was always like, well, we'll always have that to rely on.
Yeah.
But then you've got all the kind of the shows that go along with it, like the X Factor and Britain's Got Talent and all that kind of stuff. And it's more about image. It's more about being popular as opposed to being
being good.
Being good, really.
Yeah.
And all these people that we've probably voted for over the years, or we've went, oh, you want to Lewis or Shakes? All right, like, where is she now?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's,
what are they trying to create? You know.
But it's a different vehicle. Music now. I feel like a lot of music's like it could be anyone. It could be anyone you listen to now. But I try to balance it out and say, look, I'm not. I'm not some old fart who's like, it's not like it was nowadays. Because everyone feels that anyway. But there is a lot of just copycats. Like a certain sound gets popular, and then it's like the record label goes, well, this works. Let's just tweak this melody
and churn it out with somebody else.
And then you get one song that's really standout-ish every now and then, but most of it's just very samey, diluted.
Yeah.
Pop music, unfortunately.
I'll be honest, I'm very much in the camp of I know what I like, and I'm very reluctant to change that outlook, you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, like, we sort of sometimes have see little videos and you'll use a sound clip of a particular song, and so I've used this, and I can't even think of any artist off the top of my head. Have you heard this one, Dad? And I'm like, well, I haven't, and it's not because it's not because like I just haven't heard it. So I really don't want to. You know? If I'm honest, I don't want to hear it.
To be honest, what I still love about music is, like, for example, we're watching Mobland with Tom Hardy, and they've got Fontaine's DC tune on it, and it's an absolute band from Dublin, and I heard them and I was like, did give them a download. So that's what I love about music. You can be watching an advert or a film.
Yeah.
I was watching this film called Boys Don't Cry. It's like a bit of a mental health movie. Deals with trauma and stuff like that. But there's a guy there's a couple of tunes in this one-off movie. And I was like, who's singing them songs? And then I mean, we're talking about technology being bad. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Because you just go, who's that? And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, they're brilliant then.
Yeah.
Give them a download.
Find it straight away.
That's what I love about music, where you think, music's a bit rubbish, it's not what it used to be. But then you'll hear one song or two songs, and then you'll go and research where that came from, and then you'll download the album, and you'll be like, you just fall in love with music again. You're like, this how have I not heard of this?
Yeah. I know this is going to sound, that's not going to sound weird at all. I suppose it is what it is for everybody. Everybody's got their own tastes. But when I was growing up, we like every family probably in the 80s and the 90s had a record player in the front room, and for us it was a Sunday morning when my mum was doing housework or making the dinner, and we were allowed to put the music on. We were allowed to touch like the vinyls, and two that were always been a really big favourite of mine, which I never really spoke about, if I'm honest. I've always really liked the Carpenters.
Brilliant.
And my mum had like 3 or 4 Carpenters albums, which I would listen to over and over again Sunday morning. That was one of the first things I went to. And the other one, which is again a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine, is Boney M. I think Boney M, and I've got to put it out there, I think one of the most underrated bands of that particular era.
I can't recall a song.
Well, there's quite a lot of the songs by Boney M were at the time in the 70s and in the early 80s very mainstream. Right. But there's a lot of songs out there that a lot of Boney M songs in particular that I've only heard once, I've only heard twice. They're really good, and then again, time's not on your side, and you don't get around to listening to them again because something else pops up or something else you've got to do. But I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I think it's not that it speaks.
What's one of them popular?
Well, I mean, the popular one was Rasputin. That was the one that was out in the charts, rah rah Rasputin and all that sort of thing. But things like Sunny and tracks like Sunny are fantastic songs, very upbeat. In terms of a message, they haven't really got a message. I wouldn't have thought. I don't think they've got a message, but it kind of makes you feel pretty good. You know, if you're in a good mood or you're getting ready to go out for very
honestly, I'm checking them out when I leave there, like 100%.
Yeah, just look Boney M, go on, and you might think, Jesus, what's this? But it's I suppose it's 70s disco really. And I've got a bit of a soft spot for Boney M. What can I say? Coming away from musical taste, but I suppose we've talked about progressive music and how your tastes progress over the years, or how cases for me that don't. But progress, I think progress is a byword nowadays because in Sunderland we see a lot of it, a lot of physical progress in the new bridge, the sheepfolds, Kids Square, a lot of things to do in Sunderland, which are, in my view, very positive, very good things for the city. Progress, if I said to you, forget the dictionary definition, what does progress mean in your head?
Moving towards better, I suppose, is what it means to me, really. Moving towards better.
Moving towards better. I think that's probably not too far from the dictionary definition, and that's what it is. I think that too many people get tied down in their own little circle and sometimes don't want to progress outside of that. I mean, for me personally, what makes me the happiest is, I've got a to-do list that I work through on a daily basis, work-wise and all that. And if I'm ticking things off that list, I'm making progress, and that makes me feel happy. It makes me feel like upbeat about life, and it gives me motivation to do stuff, to think of more things and be a bit more creative, and to constantly try and make progress, whether that be in your family life or whether that be in your business or your work life. And obviously you're well aware of the project that I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah.
And we've only been doing it for, in theory we've only been doing it for about 10 months, but we've made so much progress, and I think it came around, the idea and the subsequent business idea came around at the right time for me, because I was at I wouldn't say I was particularly aware, but I just felt that things weren't right. I was happy to go through the motions in life, and as long as you pick up your paycheck at the end of the month, you were quite happy. But I wasn't, I think I find it hard to sit still and not come up with something and not try and do something that's not just going to make me feel happy, but maybe make somebody else feel happy, or give somebody an outlet. That to me is progress. And even going by what we're doing today, it's something I wouldn't have thought about a couple of weeks ago, and speaking to the right person in yourself has made me think, well, let's try that, let's see if that can make some progress, not just for what it is, but for what other people might get out of it. Somebody might be sitting in the bedroom listening to this, and they might get something out of it. They might think, I've never heard that track before, I'm going to Google it and I'm going to find out what it sounds like.
Yeah, totally. Like on a grassroots level, I just think it's like an individual metric of, like my family know that I've got who's at school. I think it's an individual measurement of where you were and where you are.
Yeah.
And it's really subjective, and it's a really individual thing. But you're totally right. It's like a necessary ingredients for purpose and meaning, isn't it? Really, you can't if you're the type of person who just wants to trade in the hours for the money, then that's fine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're content with that, then that's progress. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You put money away for a meaning and a purpose. You support the family. So there's loads of little. It's really subjective, but if you are giving up all your time and you're not happy, then that's like the opposite of progress, isn't it?
I suppose it could be, but I mean, for me, the way my sort of career paths panned out is, you start going to when I started work, when college wasn't for me. Never really been the academic sort of person, but I wanted to get a job, and then when that job got a bit tiresome or I got a bit samey, I thought I need to do something else. Yeah. And I've jumped from thing to thing to thing, it's not necessarily to try and find the golden ticket and say this is exactly what I want to do for the rest of my life, because I think even sitting here now as like a 46-year-old man, I'm probably going to think of something else next week and think, I'd quite like to give that a try. I mean, Mrs. rolls her eyes at me all the time and says, you're happy, but once you start not feeling happy, you're not feeling content, not feeling like you're stuck in a rut, you'll never be happy, because you'll always want to do something different. Yeah. And just trying to wait for that moment or that particular environment that you put yourself in where you think, well, actually quite like this, and let's see how long it lasts for.
Absolutely. Like as long as you're content, as long as you can create some meaning, and then you can apply some purpose to that meaning, and they both feed into each other, don't they? Really?
Yeah.
I'm a big believer that sometimes you live your life in reverse and you do something to see how you feel about that something. Like you do something and go, well, that wasn't right, but I've learned this from that.
Yeah.
So sometimes you get into something and it's you have to see it out to see what you got from it, really. Obviously, lockdown was like a really important time. I was trying to think what I was trying to say there, but lockdown was like really important to me because it kind of made us think what I don't want. So I went from a job that I was really happy, comfortable, decent bit of money, loads of perks, good work-life balance, and then I had all this time on my hands. I was really, really fortunate that they gave us loads of time off, but in that time off, spent that with my little girl. We lived up Silks with me and we were just going on little trails and adventures, and then when you could have a picnic, we had a picnic and fed the ducks, and it was really nice weather, and it just got us thinking, I don't really want to go back to this job that was pretty good for us.
Yeah.
Because it was just, there was always like there was always like a payoff, like I wasn't really pushing myself.
Yeah.
And my job satisfaction was low. But then obviously, you know, the approval list was all those things I mentioned, plus I got to stay in my comfort zone. So it was the catalyst, is what I was trying to say. It was definitely the catalyst, lockdown. But if lockdown never happened, maybe I would have fizzled out of that job a few years later, or I might still be doing it now.
Who knows?
So it's sometimes you don't know where you're going to be at until you come out the other side and go, well, actually, I was quite happy, but was it sustainable?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's sort of a similar thing with me. It didn't necessarily happen during lockdown, but obviously there was certain things that did happen during lockdown that made you think in a different way. I was working in a school, really enjoyed it. It was the second school I'd worked at. It was my sort of, it was the place where I thought I was going to be forever until the carriage is out of the box sort of thing. And then going into lockdown and still working because we were describing, what was the phrase, key workers. So we had to go in. So nothing changed really, in essence, during lockdown for me because I was still working all the way through it. But there was a period of 3 or 4 weeks where we got furloughed. And in that 3 or 4 weeks, the first day of furlough, I remember sitting on the settee one morning having my cup of coffee and thinking, what am I going to do for 4 weeks? What am I going to do? And a project just popped up, ironically, on Facebook. We've been talking about social media, but somebody put a post up saying we've got a great mural down in Silksworth at the Miners on Duncan's pub. Why isn't nobody done one of Bobby Gurney? He's from Silksworth. He's still an all-time leading goal scorer. And I saw that, and the first thing I thought about was my dad, who passed away, obviously, in 2003, and he was going to football in the era that Bobby Gurney played at, so he always talked about how he was his favourite player, and he was from Silksworth, and my dad used to get on the tram to go to the match on a Saturday, and Bobby would get on the same tram and travel to the match with the fans, you know, because that was commonplace at the time. And that was the first thing that made us think of it. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be a good idea if I could do something, not just to honour, obviously, Sunderland's greatest ever goal scorer, but something to sort of, when I see it, remind us of my dad in a positive way.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. Got in touch with the fabulous Frank Styles, who lives not too far away from where we are now, and set about raising the money, and didn't have a clue how I was going to do it, but there it is. It's on the side of the fleece in Silksworth, and every time I come home, I mean, you know, when people say when they go on holiday, especially people from Sunderland, and they know the home when they see Pension Monument in the distance.
Yeah.
For me, it's not that now. I know I'm home when I drive into Silksworth and I see that mural.
Yeah.
And that's when I feel like I'm truly home. So that for me was progress because it needed to happen, but it also had a really sort of dual purpose, really, one on the man himself, and one to sort of say, there you go, Dad, that's for you, sort of thing, you know. And
that's that, man.
That made me happy. That made me really
happy.
Well
good, that way.
So yeah, progress, I know it means different things to everybody, whether it's in your work or whether it's in your family or whether it's your, as we've talked about, your health, be it physical or be it your mental health. I think anything you can do to make progress, and progress, I think, for me, is got to be positive. It's always got to be a positive thing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's it. And I say, even if it's slow, as long as you go in the right direction, as long as you're moving.
Yeah.
Like, you can get all these memes of like, make sure you go in the right direction, man. Because you could just be pedaling and forget about all that nonsense. As long as you do something positive,
Yeah.
little by little, bubble, day by day, it'll all build up to something.
Yeah.
All those little wins eventually be a bit like the mirror room, you know.
Yeah.
Start off by saying something on Facebook, and then you're driving past a great piece of art.
Yeah, and it's there forever and ever. And
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. I think that's what progress makes me happy, because I always see progress as a positive thing. You know, you don't make progress in something negative. I mean, I suppose you could slap a whole load of different things into that mesh and say, well, yeah, it's progress because last week I only drink 5 pints, but I drink 6 this week. You know, you could say that's progress. But what I suppose what I'm trying to say is, if you don't see progress as something positive, and it probably isn't progress.
Yeah, it should be framed as a positive thing. Really.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, look, I think this. I'll just point this out. This has all been done in one take. I don't feel the need to put it in little categories. I think you want to listen to it. If you want to listen to it, you do. You might have turned up after 30 seconds, or you might still be listening now. It's the first one, and obviously we want to try and do these fairly regularly, and get other people involved. Maybe people who we know personally, or figures in Sunderland, influential people who might want to come and talk about what they're doing and how things are changing for the better in the city. What we would like is some feedback, and one of the things I would ask for, feedback wise, from anybody who's listening or anybody who knows us both, is suggestions for future podcasts. Anything they want to talk about, anything they want us to talk about, or conversely, they want to come on and talk about it themselves. We're quite happy to welcome that. We're not particularly precious about how these things pan out.
Yeah, we're really versatile, aren't we?
Yeah, well, we like to think so, don't we?
Because it should be our number 2 after the conversation we had with them the other night, so it's officially our number 1, but we're versatile.
We are.
I was to say, we'll see where it progresses.
We'll see where it progresses. I think that's probably a nice way to end the first one. So, cheers for your time again, Liam. Looking forward to doing it again soon. This has been Gav, and this has been Liam.
Champion.
It's either big G, little G, size doesn't matter, or whatever you people out there come up with. We're happy to think about them.
2 blokes in a crate.
2 blokes in a crate. It might not always be a crate. Actually, on the subject of the crate, we talked about what would be the quirky thing about this. It doesn't have to be quirky, but why don't we think of a different place to do it every week? That's one of the things we talked about.
Yeah.
We weren't going to do it in the middle of a football pitch, but the weather's a little bit hit-y-missy.
I like the crate.
The crate's alright, isn't it?
It's alright.
Yeah. I mean, the birds dancing around on top of it's probably going to fuck the sound up a little bit, but it makes it feel a bit more real, doesn't it?
The Valley Road Crate Diaries.
The crate diaries. Yeah, life isn't a container. There's a world outside the container.
Creation records.
Right, again, cheers, Liam. It's been fun. Really enjoyed it. Looking forward to doing the next one.
Nice one.
Bye.